Good evening. My name is Jaiden Jeffery, and the study I will be presenting today is the link between social media and mental health and eating disorders. The purpose of this research is to look at the relationship between eating disorders and depression in young people with a specific focus on the role that social media use plays in these mental health issues. Teenagers are increasingly using social media sites like Instagram and Snapchat, raising worries that frequent exposure to certain kinds of content, such as modeling and fitness videos, may have detrimental effect on mental health. According to the study's hypothesis, teens who use social media sites that promote fitness, beauty standards, and physical attractiveness are more than likely to cause teens to suffer from eating disorders and despair. The study's participants will be split into two groups according to whatever social media network they use more frequently. Teenagers' eating disorders and depression are becoming more recognized more widely as severe problems, especially as social media effect grows. Teenage everyday lives now revolve around social media sites like Instagram and Snapchat. Social media can promote expressing yourself in social connections, but it also can have a negative effect, especially when it comes to mental health and body image. Teenagers are constantly exposed to videos and movies that frequently feature unrealistically idolized standards of beauty. These representations have the potential to alter how people view themselves, which can result in unhappiness with their bodies and feelings of inferiority. These emotions have the potential to lead to eating disorders and sadness over time. The connection between use of social media and mental health has been the subject of numerous research. Farley in 2015 investigated how Facebook affected the mood and body image of young women. According to the study, women who often use Facebook for social media comparison were more than likely unhappy with their bodies and have bad moods. According to this research, emotional pain and mental health issues like depression may be exacerbated by social media comparisons that are caused by being on social media constantly. There was research done on media and eating disorders by Levine in 2009. The results of this study concluded that young women's perception of their bodies can be greatly influenced by media representations of thinness and beauty standards, which can result in disordered eating patterns. The negative consequences of media exposure, particularly social media, on body dissatisfaction and the emergence of eating disorders were emphasized in their review. They maintained that normalizing thinness as the ideal body type, these media representations encourage unhealthy behaviors among teenagers. Facebook effect on teenage girls' body issues was studied by Tidgeman also in 2014, and according to his research, teenage females were more likely to report body dissatisfaction and participate in disordered eating behaviors the more time they spent on Facebook. They also discovered that comparing oneself to others' Facebook photos led to a rise in body image issues. This study also highlights how image media, especially Facebook and other image-focused platforms, shapes the mental health and body image of teens. "100 teenagers between the age of 13 and 18 were selected from the nearby high schools of Spartanburg High, Dorman High, and Boiling Springs for this study. A group of teenagers who use Instagram and another group of teenagers who use Snapchat were randomly selected among these participants. Based on their self-reported primary social media platform, the participants will be chosen. Both male and female participants will be included in this sample, ensuring that the study takes gender differences into account. According to the study's inclusion requirements, individuals must regularly use social media, which is defined as using their preferred platform for at least 1 hour every day. For the materials, there would be the Beck Depression Inventory, also known as the BDI questionnaire, the Eating Attitudes Test, also known as EAT, social media usage log, which is a form for participants to record their social media usage throughout the duration of the 2-week experiment. There will also be an informed consent forms because most students aged 13 to 17 throughout high school cannot give consent to be a part of studies, so they would need parental consent in order to be a part of this study. There will also be a further instructional guide that explains furthermore how to record and log their social media usage over the duration of the experiment. And lastly, there will be a data spreadsheet that will collect all the baseline data from the initial test and then the follow-up results of the experiment after the duration of the test is over with. For the procedure, after receiving an explanation of the study and completing the informed consent process, which will involve written consent from both the participants and their guardians, the experiment will start with the introductory section. To determine baseline levels of depression and eating disorder symptoms, individuals will next complete Eating Attitudes Test, also known as EAT, and the Beck Depression Inventory, also known as BDI. After that, participants will be told to carry on using Instagram and Snapchat as their main social media platform as usual. For 2 weeks, participants will be asked to monitor their daily social media activity, noting how frequently they interact with information about beauty, fitness, and body image. In order to learn more about social media content impacts on their mood, they will also be asked to record their emotional responses to this content, such as positive, negative, or just neutral. Participants will take the BDI and EAT test again at the end of the 2-week period to evaluate any improvement in their symptoms of eating disorders and depression. The outcomes will be contrasted with the initial baseline measurements made during the study to find out whether there is significant correlation between the frequency of social media use, exposure to modeling and fitness content, and changes in eating disorder and depressive symptoms. Analysis will be done. After being exposed to fitness and beauty content on Instagram for 2 weeks, there was a significant increase in both the BDI score and the EAT score. Depression scores raised by 16 as well as the eating disorder scores. For Snapchat, there were only slight increases from both scores, only going up by 2. These results suggest exposure to beauty and fitness on Instagram may contribute to worsening mental health, whereas Snapchat, a more personal communication social media platform, has little to no effect. Throughout any study, there are many limitations that are caused because not any study can be 100% accurate. The study results support the idea, but it's crucial to acknowledge how many limitations there really are. First, the study included self-report measures of social media use and emotional reactions to social media content. Bias may result from participants overreporting or underreporting on their emotional responses and behavior to certain content that they saw while going throughout the duration of the experiment. Additionally, the results may not be generalized to a larger population due to the 100 participant sample size, and also they're all high school students. There are also many 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds that are not just in high school. Future studies must corroborate the findings using larger sample sizes and more diverse populations. The length of the investigation is also another limitation for the study. The long-term impacts of social media use on mental health might not be fully captured in 2 weeks. A longitudinal study would help us better understand the long-term effects on social media use on eating disorders and depression. Additionally, other possible confounding variables that might have influenced the observed changes in mental health, such as peer pressure, family dynamics, or pre-existing mental health disorders, were not taken fully into account in this study. Considering these drawbacks, findings indicate that the social media use, especially Instagram, has a substantial impact on the mental health of children and teens of today's population.